call the meeting to order. Item number 2, disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof. Seeing none. Adoption of our previous minutes. Moved by Kimberly, second by, I saw Cindy there. Any questions or concerns? Errors or omissions? No, seeing none. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. I do want to add under new business, Barb's got a item that we'll be bringing up. And it'll probably be the one that we'll want to spend the most time on today. So with that in mind, I'll jump right down to our business arising from our previous minutes. Item 4A, our 2021 spring events. So the first one, I have reached out to Councillor Ritzma and he's also on the Ag Society. He has indicated that he does not believe that there's any issues or concerns with us having our event at the market in May. I have not yet received the formal approval though from the Ag Society, so I'm just waiting to hear back from that. But his thoughts that it should not be an issue. So I'm hopeful that that will be the case. So as we go forward here, it doesn't take much for us to put that or pull that together, but I think it's exciting with the fact that we can have an event in the springtime. And I'm saying that optimistically or cautiously, depending on what happens in the province tomorrow. But hopeful that come May, everything's better. So I just want just to throw this back to the committee at this point and just say, should everything go according to our hope that we're able to be at the market in May, the items that we had discussed was having a table.
Can we all go on mute except for Brad, because I'm hearing background noise.
Give me a thumbs up if that's better, Bonnie. Yeah, okay, thanks everybody. So yeah, if we'll just have it that when you're speaking that everybody's off. Okay, so with that in mind, we had talked about having a table with our flowers and seeds and information. And I'm guessing at this point, I'm looking for the committee to see what other thoughts that they might have in terms of sharing Communities in Bloom, growing hope at the market. So I will ask maybe if you have an idea, or we can raise your hand and we can. Okay, so maybe what we could do, Barb, was that you waving at me there?
Mute here. So we will be packaging the seeds for the sunflowers, and that would be great to be able to hand them out. We weren't able to go and pick up the seeds because the person was in quarantine due to a teenage son being positive for COVID. So the seeds should be coming soon and we could hand them out there. That'd be great.
Fantastic. So I think the seeds and the flowers be a great start. I know when I spoke with Martin about this, he was thinking it'd be a great thing for our community, and he liked the idea of having it at the market. So I think, you know, making this change this year isn't necessarily a bad thing. That I think we should get some really good community engagement from this, and hopefully be able to spread our growing hope. So that's all I had from, like I said, I haven't got anything else back from the Ag Society. So as soon as I receive anything, I will forward off a confirmation to the committee so that we know that we have that, but definitely before our next meeting in May. The next item, and I'll turn over to Kimberly while she's still able to join us, is the Anti-littering campaign update, Kimberly?
So I sent to everyone a copy of what Mike Bites did for us, and which is going to be posted online. So he is going to post that intermittently throughout March and April, and also put in a piece about everyone taking 20 minutes during Earth Week to be able to clean up their neighborhoods and that kind of thing, just going off of what Bonnie told us from the last meeting. And hopefully then we'll get some engagement from that and get people out there, you know, picking things up and that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know what everybody thinks of it. I had him incorporate sunflowers, so he put those on there, and he tried to make it fun and all that kind of stuff. So it looks pretty good. And he came up with the saying, and so I just, you know, basically gave him free rein, and that's what he did. So it looks pretty good. So yeah.
He shared it already on March the 16th.
Yep, that's good. Yeah.
And I reported it to the Upper Thames group that's all we're doing this year. Sounds like other ones are doing the same thing. They've got a big notice on it saying basically closed down due to COVID.
Bonnie, were you happy with what the what it looks like from communities from the other committees' perspective?
Bonnie, were you okay with it?
Oh, the posters? Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought we maybe should have put more information on it, but it's okay. It's out there, and it's got, if you know, it's gonna have a press release with it, so that'll be enough.
And Mike has shared that he will be, he didn't want to be constantly pushing it, but that he would be recirculating it closer to the event. He just didn't want it to get drowned out. So he put it out, and then he said he'd be resharing it again, Bonnie. Okay. Yeah, Cindy.
I don't know how we can go about this, but I walk by Stratford Secondary School, and their whole area is just littered with Tim Hortons and Subway because the kids walk there at lunch. And I wonder if we could talk to the principal or say, can the kids go out and pick up all their litter? It is terrible, really. I've never seen it in the state that it is right now. Is there anything we can do to get the schools involved?
Most of the schools in April do a cleanup. So probably closer to Earth Day, they'll go out. Like, you know, today is a little tiny bit of snow out there, not much.
Yeah. Okay.
Usually around April, and usually around the middle of April, I'll hear from some schools that will ask me for some bags and gloves.
Okay.
But not a lot, but I mean, I think that's when most of them do their cleanup. We're noticing it because the snow went away early this year.
Oh, maybe that's it. It's just, I was by there this morning and it was terrible. I've never seen it like that. So, okay, that's fine. And Kimberly, I didn't get the link, I don't think.
I just sent it this morning.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
That's fine. Thank you.
So it's probably in your email.
Okay.
The other thing I was thinking about was just reaching out to Eddie Matthews and sending it to him to see if he could send it to all the people who belong to the chamber, and to encourage businesses to clean up their, to do lot pickup.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I know some of them in Stratford are just not very, haven't done that in a while. So maybe just reinforcing that with them. So that was another idea that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay. And then item C is our CIB website update.
Yeah, I can provide some. To be honest with you, I haven't done anything as of yet. I've been renovating my kitchen, so that's kind of taken over my life. But things are coming to a close there, so I'll have that done before the end of the month, and then we can talk about it at our next meeting. So I'll have things ready for you then.
And Mike knows that it's a work in progress. That as we get things, and the great thing about Mike is that he's very accommodating, and he knows that as we provide information or we make changes, that it's not a written in stone, that he will help us as we go through.
Yeah.
So again, as a committee, we can continue to make changes on the fly as we go here. So if you do see something that just doesn't seem quite right after we get the first round in, then let us know and we can continue to make the upgrades Okay.
Nope, that's it for me.
Okay, perfect. Barb, item D, it's got my name, but I spoke with Sonia last night and she said, Barb has all the information. I said, okay, perfect. I'll turn it over to her when we get to this section.
Right. We were selected to be part of the garden prizes. So they will be sending me prizes that we can hand out. I'm not sure whether it'll be 6 or 12 chosen gardens from around Stratford. We did it, I guess didn't happen last year, but it did happen the year before. So we'll probably need Mike's help again on the website just to have people nominate other people who've done a nice job. And I guess we could even tie that in with the sunflowers. You know, we can tell people when we're handing out the seeds that if they have a nice garden, they might want to apply for, they can nominate themselves too. So I think we had 12 last time, and I think that's what we're getting this time. It'll have the CIB logo as well as the national logo. And yeah, so keep your eyes when the flowers start growing as to gardens that should be recognized.
Thanks, Barb. Item E, update from CIB National. I don't know if anybody's been on the national website at all recently, but it's I would say it's like our website. It's a little bit behind the times. It hasn't been updated in a while. When I sent Sonia an email last night, she was just sharing that there more information to come, I guess, because I asked her, is there any details on anything? And other than the email that I forwarded to everybody last week that had the different dates with the different seminars, that's about the only information that they've released. And most of those workshops, and Linda and George, for individuals that haven't been involved with CIB or because you're newcomers, there might be something in there to those workshops that would be helpful just to give you some more insight. Yeah, because again, it's something that how do I say it? We've been doing it for more than 25 years, so it's just part of who we are. But for new members, it's a great way to just kind of bring up the speed as quickly as possible. So I would encourage you, for all our members, if there's something there that that interests you, to join in on those webinars. I think the biggest one, the timeline there is the August timeline, and that's for the different awards. So if we want to just take a look at that, and we'll have that conversation as we go to see if there's something there that we wish to apply for.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Look at that, Barb. I've got about 45 minutes for us to dive into this meaty project that you want to talk about. So
Oh.
I'm going to turn over the new business and Barb's project she wants to talk about.
Okay. And Casey is going to help me with some photos. A while back, well, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was in Godrich, and of course there are rivals with CIB, and they have this beautiful wall just on one of the buildings in the square. And are you able to show that first picture, Casey?
Yeah, I'm gonna call it up here.
Okay. Anyway, this wall, it was kind of a yucky day, and it was really nice because it's colorful, it's bright, and of course I love butterflies anyway, but it wasn't really the butterflies, it was just how it made us feel. Now is that?
Can you guys see that?
No,
I can just see your whole screen.
We
Yeah.
just see the email.
You can't see the picture?
No, the top half, maybe the top quarter of it. Can you just click on the picture?
Yeah, hold on.
Technology is great when it works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you want me to see if that screen is on mine again? We tried this before.
Mhm.
It wasn't working.
It's not
Are you
picking-
able to turn on my screen or no?
I have all the screens turned on for everybody. I'm
Okay,
just not sure on your phone,
that-
Barb.
can you see that? Because the picture is on my screen now.
Mm-mm.
No,
No? Okay, I'll just tell you about it.
Are you sharing your screen?
I thought I was. It says screen, photos. I don't know. I'm getting off on something that's not. Anyway, I'll tell you about it.
why don't you just, can you forward the email to us and we can just open it?
Yeah, maybe what I'll do is forward the email that I sent to the Parks Board, and then it has all the pictures in it. Or I can, yeah. It's too bad I
Oh,
can't.
there
it
it
is.
is. Got
There
it.
it is.
Okay, can you
Yeah.
do the picture before that?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, this is sideways for some reason. If you turn your screen to the side, you can see how big this wall is, but it was just very bright and colorful. And next picture, please.
Oh, that's
So you can
cool.
you can even stand in front of it and get your picture taken. And I've seen many people do this. And then I thought, oh, I got to get to Goddard. So anyway, what I propose, if you want to go to the next one. Well, this is another wall that we saw, Karis and I, in Nova Scotia when we were down for the CIB National Symposium, just showing how walls can, be incorporated into various ways. So next, please. Okay, so this is a Ted Blow's Memorial Pollinator Peace Garden, taken from the drone. The proposal is to paint the bridge. The sides of the bridge are they look almost covered with black mold. The railing is an old ugly brown stain. So I was talking to Quinn, and Quinn happened to have a meeting with Angela from the Gallery Stratford. So she has a mural workshop, hopefully at the end of the month, where she can incorporate these girls ages 14 to 18 into this mural workshop where they are, their leader is an expert mural painter. So going up these stairs, each stair would be a color that ties in with the garden, and it would be kind of variegated as you go up. So, and it wouldn't be the top of the stairs, just the side. It will give you that effect without, like if people are on it, they're going to wear and tear the paint, but if it's on the side, it will last a lot longer. So next page, please. So here's just a picture of the side of the garden. There's the bridge, and the next one. So this one is showing, from the art gallery, people will be able to see the painted section. And again, it would be colorful. It would tie in with our growing hope theme. So again, we can use this with the National CIB as one of our projects. Now, next, please. Again, that's just showing the side of the bridge that would be painted. This particular butterfly, this was taken in Ted's garden. It actually has Ted's name, TED, written, scrambled on the wings. We would use this in the garden, besides the bridge, there's also a wall that used to say Confederation Park. All the brass letters have now fallen off, and it's again covered in black mold. It's not very attractive. There's no purpose to this wall. Instead of the butterfly that Goddard used, we would use this one. And again, it would tie into our growing hope, as well as the word Confederation Bridge would be painted on this wall so people actually know that it is Confederation Park. It used to be called Confederation Drive, but they've changed it to Christopher Plummer Drive. So when on Google, it says Confederation Park, but there's no wording there to tell people they're actually in it. Also, when people take their picture in front of this butterfly and it says Confederation Park, and they share it on social media, it will draw people to the garden. So it's kind of free advertising, just like when I saw that butterfly on other people's walls. Okay, next. please. Okay, this is the Hope is Growing. That's the theme for national. And if you go to the next one, I know it's really small, but it talks about how national and global recognition people will get for sharing their gardens of hope. So this is one of their biggest projects this year, and it would be nice if we could tie this into, you know, into Ted's garden. And the next one. And then this one I had sent to the Parks Board just so they knew kind of what our mandate was. So we can scroll through that. And again, you can't see it, but it talks about, if I can make it bigger here. Can anybody read that?
Yeah.
What does it say? I forget what it says.
Happiness blooms where seeds of love and joy are planted.
Okay, so we would change probably the word love to peace and hope. Again, it ties into the peace garden. It would tie into our hope. This isn't an example of what the artwork would look like. It's just we might be able to incorporate those words into the mural. Okay, next, please. Okay, here's the wall I was telling you about. It's covered in black mold. Used to have the brass letters. Now all that's left are the holes that held the letters up. Now I have a quote, and to do this wall both front and back by a young artist in Stratford, who is a third-year student. I think it's at Mohawk. She sent me some sketches, and it's about $3,000 to do this particular wall both sides. Again, if you know, part of the budget, and I just got the budget today for the bridge is about $10,000. So I have applied to the grant that's with Tourism Stratford for $10,000. I was hoping that we could maybe rearrange some funding to get $5,000 for this wall. And again, I'm pretty sure it would be about $15,000 in total. Yeah, so anyway, the next one, please. This is just a bigger version of the same picture. Okay, this is an electrical box. It's kind of just to the left of the waterfalls. There's two of them, and the paint is falling off them. They're actually kind of yucky. And Angela, what she would do is get an artist to paint them, so they actually they'll get cleaned up and look great. And the next slide, I believe, is the other. This one's in really bad shape. You can see the green and red paint. It's been painted a number of times. So again, it would have to go down to the bottom of the metal and start over again. But again, it's bridging the gap, I say, between the art gallery and Ted's garden. And okay, this next one is a sketch. So the first one would be on the front of the wall, and the other one would be on the back of the wall. If we don't get the funding, we could just maybe do one side of the wall, and it would be, I would think, half of the price. But again, it would incorporate the word Confederation Park. And I think that might be the last one. Oh yeah, I threw in a few of the rocks. Last year, the garden became kind of it was used by not tourists, but by residents. And there were uplifting rocks in the garden, and people would take them as if they needed them. And other people would paint rocks and put them there. So it was just, you know, if you felt like you needed uplifting during the pandemic, you could grab a rock and take it with you. Cindy and I think painted about over 100 ladybugs, because they were the ones that just kept on flying out of the garden. So there's one of the ladybugs. So again, the color is really attractive during the pandemic. And again, this isn't catering to the tourists per se, but I think they'll love it. It's the residents that use this area. So about the workshop, Angela at the art gallery has some funding. And if we have to do, you know, some fundraising, Angela and I will look after that as well. So what I guess I'm asking for is this to become a CIB project where we are making the garden brighter, and yeah, especially during the pandemic. And I think, and this is the year to do it. Because it looks like this summer is going to be similar to last summer, and people will be using the garden for walking their dogs and riding their bikes and giving their kids exercise up over the bridge. I have an emergency parks board meeting on Monday to present, because without their approval, we can't go ahead. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Does anyone have any questions? No?
About the
Barb,
other
the
people.
Parks Board meeting's on Tuesday at 3:30.
Tuesday, I think. Oh, maybe it's Tuesday. I'm going to check my calendar because I
Well,
think,
Monday's Easter Monday, so I know it's not Monday.
yeah, maybe it's Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
3:30, Barb.
It's Tuesday.
You know, when
Yeah,
I was
Tuesday.
out, they've had different electrical boxes painted downtown, and they last a long time, that paint. And it's also, I believe it's the same stuff they used out west that I saw, and it's what do you call it, vandalism proof too. It just washes off, that paint.
Bonnie,
Yeah,
are
no,
they
that one is a wrap
pigmented or are they
apparently.
wraps?
Yeah,
like
so
a
we'll have to,
I think
Oh,
they're
those are wraps. Oh,
so we'd have to maybe look into that, because if we have the artwork, then we can look into doing the wrap. But the ones downtown look great. And again, it would just really tidy those up. I hadn't even noticed them before because I don't usually walk that area, but they're really a mess. So again, it's just kind of
they're
tidying.
terrible.
Yeah. Now I don't have an artist sketch for the bridge, but that's the one that will be done with the workshop under the guidance of an expert in the area. And yeah, and it'll be bright and cheerful. And like, as soon as I get any design sketches, I would share those with you.
And do we have to be careful? You're saying there's mold on there. Will that be how should I say this, a safe mold to remove type thing?
Yeah, I had it on my back deck last year, and I just got the power washer and it came off beautifully. Yeah, but that's a good question, because otherwise the mold would just grow underneath the paint and probably wreck the wall. So it will be cleaned up, and I'm not as concerned about the back of the wall because people aren't really seeing that. So again, get her just to do the front of the wall for half of that. So that would be like $1,500.
Kimberly? Go ahead, Kimberly.
Barb, in regards to the longevity of painting the mural as well as the wall, how many years is that going to be, or does it get sealed so the paint stays longer?
Yeah, it has to be primed, it has to be painted, it has to be sealed. And as Angela says, once the mural, is no longer useful, you start something new. So it's not a big thing to undo it. Yeah, and I think it'll really add to that area. But that's a good question. That's the same one Brad asked. Yeah, because otherwise you're looking at funding down the road too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
always- Sorry, go ahead, Kimberly.
I just had one other question in regards to the grant process. What's the chances of us being able to access that money from Destination Stratford?
I'm not sure. It's coming up in April. It might be even later than our start date, but with this pandemic, I have a feeling the workshop will be postponed a little bit anyway. So it's just all come together quite quickly. Like, I only talked to Quinn a week ago Monday, and then he was meeting with Angela just by chance. I met with her, and some of the funding for the 10,000 for the bridge will be covered. She has a Trillium grant for the workshop. So some of the artist fees and that will be incorporated into that as well. So she has some funding. Yeah, like even if we get 5 from the art gallery and we only get 5,000 from the destination, and 5 from Communities in Bloom, I think we can do it. And if not, I'd be willing to pay for part of it as well. So, but I think we can raise the funds.
Okay. I'll open up for questions to Barb regarding the project.
Cindy?
I talked to Barb about this before, but as a member of the museum board, we are now building an outdoor stage area for hosting various events. And it was a lot more money than what was originally planned, even with our grants. So a committee was formed to get some corporate sponsors. And I think that, I don't know if we're allowed to do that as part of the city, but we were really fortunate, and I think it's maybe due to the pandemic too, but we've got three corporate sponsors just like that. We just asked them and they said, sure. So maybe we could think of, like, I'm thinking Clomps or somebody related to the outdoors and gardening in our community that might be willing to donate some money.
Yeah, and the other possibility is there's 20 steps going up either side. So we might
Yeah.
ask to sponsor a step.
Right. Yeah.
Because
The only
that's
thing is they wouldn't be able to have their name on
their
it.
names. No.
Yeah,
No.
and I shared that with Barb as well, as that the Parks Board, the restrictions are there. They've always been there, and they're always
Right.
that
Yeah.
there's no.
You don't want it tarted up with names, right?
No.
So,
Okay. How does everybody else feel about taking this on as a project? Yeah, George is giving the thumbs up. Kimberly,
Yeah.
Linda, Bonnie.
I think it's a really nice space. I mean, the garden is beautiful, but it's not blooming all year. So when it's not, then you've got, and it was a little kid that inspired us. And I think you were there, Cindy. She came into the garden. She goes, "Oh, it's the Rainbow Bridge." And I remember saying then, "Oh, maybe someday it will be." So it won't be painted in rainbow colors per se. It will be a garden. Are there any other questions or comments, or? It's going to happen very quickly if it happens. So
You're amazing, Barb.
no, I'm not. It's I know Ted is just up there going, "Okay, Barb."
Well,
See-
I'm glad you found it, but it's awful that it got that bad, eh? At least-
And even Ted's family might donate some money, because I know Pat said, "Oh, you keep putting stuff in the garden, and we'd like to do something." So that's another option too, to see if they want to.
Okay.
I like that.
Go ahead. Sorry, Cindy, did you have something else?
No, I just was saying, I love the whole idea, but I like the idea of maybe, I know we can't get maybe corporate sponsors, but people that want to donate. I don't know how we would go about that, but I like that idea.
The other thing is, last year I did several butterfly releases over there, and the families wanted to donate money.
Yeah.
So Lorena McKenna actually donated money that put peat moss into the garden before the winter started. And another person, we did one for their mom, and they bought the bird bath that's in there. And they did it not to get their name anywhere. They did it because, that garden has some meaning for them.
Kimberly?
On that thought, though, as I know that the city will issue donation slips if people will contribute to something. So, like the benches that people put into the park system and that kind of thing, they get a donation slip for the cost of the bench.
That's a good point. And also they can get donations. We can do it through the art gallery or Gallery Stratford. So they have that option.
I definitely think we have a workaround here should somebody wish to donate to the project, Barb.
Well, yeah, should they do it through CIB or should we do it through Gallery Stratford?
Could we do it through both, Barb?
I think it's probably easier through Gallery Stratford, because I know when I was giving that money last year, because of the pandemic, the city it's really hard to get money to them, and they won't take cash when I take it into the office. It has to be a traceable, and so I don't know. Gallery Stratford would issue receipts, no problem.
I think it might be smarter too, because there's already people complaining that we're not doing all the flower beds, that we're leaving the tarp on some, even though we're doing the hanging baskets this year. It might be in some ways easier to have it sort of distancing to, like it's coming to the gallery type thing more.
Hmm.
I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Okay, so I think what I just want to, before we lose Kimberly, I don't know if you've got to run or not, this is time sensitive, if I'm not mistaken, Barb?
It is. It's really happening.
So I understand that Barb's meeting with the Parks Board, and actually you have 3 Parks Board members on this committee here, so we'll definitely be, supportive, I believe, on the project. But should the Parks Board be supportive of it, I think it's fair to say that Barb would be looking to how we can move forward, and is this a Communities in Bloom project that we wish to be a partner of? Because I don't believe that this is something that we are doing independently. I think that I use that word specifically, Barb, is that we'd be a partner on this. So whether it's through sponsorships or some other means of getting this project done, because we do have not a full budget, as we know we're working on reduced budget, and we have in the past, and we still do have other things that we wish to accomplish. So Barb, I know that you had mentioned to me a value of about $5,000. That is, well, it'd be 5/9 of our budget. So more than just over half of our budget for this, which would be significant, but this is a significant project. So I guess right now is I'm looking at everybody to say, we know that the judging will definitely be different this year, and so the amount required for that is significantly reduced. We know that what we're doing for our spring workshop, or our spring at should we be at the Agricultural Society at the market, that will be less expensive than it has been in the past. And I think we could probably, this is just my opinion, and it's just an opinion, I think that we could probably incorporate it into this year. But again, I'm just voicing that as my own thoughts. So I'm turning it over now to the committee just to kind of weigh in, and then if Barb, if you want to put forward a motion after that, then we can go with that.
Well, I think it's similar. Like, you've applied for Community in Bloom, and it's all part of the garden and that. So, we normally spend money on getting the city in shape and getting ready for the judges to come and that. So I think it's very appropriate for us to do that.
Okay.
When I do the photos, take a close look at the Hope is Growing put out by our national CIB. This project would fit right into what they're asking all across Canada for us to do. They'd like to see yellow, but maybe the railings will be yellow, and a lot of the flowers will be yellow as well as the butterfly on the wall. Yeah, and we will have some of that funding coming from the art gallery as well, and we'll take a look at it. Maybe if we have excess funding, it could go back in the CIB.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
And Barb, I know you mentioned you may be contributing something. I will also, if you need some.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
I will warn you that the Parks Board like to keep all the railings brown through the whole park system, because we brought up about changing the color on the new bridge they were doing, in the Shakespeare and Garden area, and it was no.
Okay, because I talked to Dave Gaffney, because I felt he had to be on board or this wouldn't fly, even though he's not on the Parks Board anymore. His dad built the bridge, and he's been working on trying to get a historical piece in there. So I said, if we could even get a little historical plaque put on the side of the bridge saying what it was used for, because it's the bridge to nowhere. People don't know what, and that's a common question when you're working in there. They'll say, oh, what was this bridge for? It kind of goes up and down, So I think the sign he wanted, I think, could go in a plaque on the side of the bridge and add to the history of it as well. So there's lots of little things that will tie it all together.
Kimberly, did I see you have a hand up earlier?
Yeah, I know the cost for the painting the Confederation Park wall or whatever is about that $5,000 that we would have to contribute. What if we just said that we were just going to paint the one side and then we'd be looking at a couple thousand instead? Because I can see that as the year progresses and as more people get vaccinated, that we may, be doing things. I think about the planting of the trees at the end of the season. I think about the pumpkin fest, pumpkin parade and that kind of thing, that we may want to put more time and effort or funds into some of those programs. Again, just along that hope line, but doing both sides, as you said, Barb, may not necessarily be the best. Maybe they could be cleaned, but in regards to painting it, nobody's going to watch it or look at it at this point, right?
Well, the one side would be really important. I think by putting the butterfly there, I think it will become a social media platform. People will
I
take,
agree. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm just,
but that's a
yeah.
way we can. The other way is doing one side of the bridge until we get funding to do the other side. Like, it can be broken down. The electrical boxes, if we have extra money, then those will be done. But it's good to look at the whole thing and then try and decide. It's all dependent on money. So,
Yep. I see what you're saying.
yeah.
Casey?
The $5,000, that's sort of the magic number for finance. Once you hit $5,000, I believe you get into requests for proposals from multiple people. So I don't know how that would work. I'm not sure, Barb, who would be invoicing the city for the work.
That's good.
So the city would have to be invoiced directly for the amount. And for the budget, we passed $4,000 for special projects. So in order to get more than that, I believe you'll probably have to pass a motion to request council reallocate any money over and above that. So just a couple considerations, but
Well,
you have 4,000.
Same, if we only do one side of the wall, that cuts the budget down by 1,000. So that's a possibility. And if we have extra money, we can do both sides or electrical boxes.
If I may, I'm going to make a suggestion. Kimberly, you make a really good point about hope, and hope that as the year goes on, that we will, as a community, be able to do more together and maybe be able to do more initiatives. And Casey, thank you for keeping us on the straight and narrow. I appreciate your job and what you do for us. So I think the fact that we do have a threshold there of the 4,000 for new community initiatives, maybe Barb, if there's some way that you could work with that number, we say to spend up to a maximum of $4,000 and get as much done as we can. So whether it's one side of the wall, both sides of the wall, boxes, whatever that, and then in combination with the various other grants or fundraising, that we can be a partner up to that amount and just see how we go from there.
Okay, yeah.
How does the rest of the community or committee feel about that? You're okay with that amount?
Mm-hmm. We take anything, and hopefully it'll all come together.
Okay, so Barb, if you want, like to make a motion to spend up to $4,000 for the community initiative of the Confederation Park Initiative, we'll call that Confederation Park Initiative.
Okay, I make a motion to spend up to $4,000 on the Gardens of Hope initiative put out by the National CIB as part of our project to send to National this year.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions on to the motion? Sorry, I'll get a seconder for that. Sorry, I need a
I'll
second.
second it.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Any questions to that? No, see none. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so I guess next steps, Barb, is good luck with Parks Board, and if that gets approved, then we'll keep moving forward here.
Yeah, because that's really the key, is getting their approval before anything happens totally.
Yep.
And then tying in with the money that's, from the art gallery and what Angela already has, and how we can fundraise if necessary if we don't get the grant. So, yeah.
Thank you for your work
Okay.
on that. Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Any other new business? Nope, seeing none. Our next meeting is May the 6th.
George has his name up and hand up.
Oh, sorry.
I have a curiosity question. I have a friend who is an apiarist
Yes.
and beekeeper.
Yeah.
And he has a number of beehives that he has put around Toronto and area. If I were to ask him about a couple of hives to be put in Stratford, would that be part of our role? And would that be acceptable?
It would in the garden, it is a pollinator garden. It'd be nice even by where those electrical boxes are. It's kind of out of the way. They put in some boxes at Freifogel Inn and they were vandalized. So that was you just have to be careful that way. And then there are people with allergies. Now the bees tend to not sting them unless they're swatting them. But again, you can learn a lot from that.
I'm just
The
gonna
other
quickly
thing
throw-
is, oh, sorry, Brad.
I know that this came up in conversation. Bonnie, help me out here. A couple of years ago, we were looking at putting them down at the
The wastewater treatment plant, and we couldn't even put it there because one of their employees has allergies. But what did happen is we did get a motion passed about being able to have bees, and Stuart Arcart is the
Yes.
local bee person, and he at the where the Bruce Hotel is. If you go around the back of the Bruce Hotel, there's a huge beehive thing there, and I guess it usually takes about almost, don't quote me exactly, but say 2 years to get good honey. And he got good honey the first year off of there. And the Bruce actually makes their butter and everything off it, and they actually sell the honey, and it's just delicious. And I guess it's just a natural place because there's water at the front, and the hill that's at the back, it's just all clover. So it's really good honey. And I'm not sure if that's the honey they sell at the Milky Way, but I know they sell Stuart Arcot. I would get in touch with Stuart Arcot first before inviting somebody from Toronto in when we're already have somebody local doing it. Just a suggestion, but a great idea because people are interested in it. But we have to, I think you have to be, is it 30 meters away from where people are or something? The beehives. And we tried to do that at the waste treatment plant, putting it way at the back, but
I did a whole year's unit on bees. Now I see that bees are very popular this year, but I know Stuart very well. He came into my classroom, and he also had the kids out to the beehives, and he's a great person. And before I'd ask anybody from Toronto, I would ask Stuart, and he would be, and I know him, he would be fabulous. I don't know if he would do anymore though, because he's, it's right there at the Bruce where he's got all his beehives now. But I could talk to him. He's also a adjunct professor at Guelph. So, he's very knowledgeable. So
Would you do that?
Yeah, I could contact him.
Thank you.
I know there's problems though, putting too close, and I don't know where you thought you would put them, George, because I know when I was doing that whole bee unit, and we were going to try and put some in around Northwestern, and no, you can't do it because of allergies and people. It's tricky.
Okay.
But I'll talk to Stuart.
Thank you,
He's
Cindy.
been our guest speaker at Home Hardware Day too.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
But what am I to ask him then? Where would you want beehives?
That's a question, I think, for the committee. However, I thought it might, taking Barb's comment, fit very nicely with the butterfly garden.
Well, it's a
But that may
pollinator.
be too
so,
close to people.
It's close to people and there's so many, like they like, as Bonnie said, the clover and the sunshine, and there's a lot of trees over there, pine trees. I don't think they'd work. It would have to be the other side, right, Barb? Going towards the gallery, but I don't see that.
Yeah, either side. We've had some problems. We had a bee house in the garden, and
Yeah.
somebody came along and vandalized it.
Right.
So I don't, and same with it, Freifogel. So I don't know whether, like, I don't know.
I don't think it's really a good idea.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I just don't think it's a practical idea.
Okay, I'll withdraw my idea then.
Well, no, it's a good idea. I just don't know if it's the right place.
Okay.
And maybe that's for more investigation, is to look
Yeah.
at how Stratford could potentially identify sites for bees. But we'll,
Yeah.
maybe that's just how, Cindy, if I could leave that conversation with you to talk about
Sure.
it. Okay.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Thank you. So our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May the 6th at 12 o'clock. If you can't attend, let Casey know, so we make sure we have our quorum.
I can't.
Sorry, George, what was that?
I can't attend that one, sorry.
Okay. Hopefully we got everybody else. Bye. Casey, or sorry, Kimberly, want a motion to adjourn, or she waved goodbye? Okay, motion to
Thanks,
adjourn.
everyone.
That was Casey motion to adjourn. Kimberly?
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, motion to adjourn by Bonnie, second by Barb, all in favor, and that is carried.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Yeah.
Happy
have-
Easter.